In the last video, we talked about reading for feeling instead of numbers. And after that conversation, I found myself thinking about the books that have stayed with me. Not the books I rated 5 stars or the books that everyone was talking about. The books that quietly became part of who I am. The books that changed the way I think, changed the way I see people, and in some cases changed the way I saw myself. These are those books.
Slow, turn the page, find your peace in this space, honey and prose. Welcome home.
Hey Book Nook crew, welcome back to Honey and Prose, where we talk about stories, softness, and the emotional experience of reading. Every reader has a handful of books they never really leave behind. Not because they're perfect or because everyone agrees they're masterpieces, but because they arrive at exactly the right moment and left something behind. Today, I want to share 5 books that quietly changed my life. The first book is The Pact by Jodi Picoult. If you have never read The Pact, it follows 2 families who have been best friends for years. Their children grow up together, fall in love, and everyone assumes that they'll spend the rest of their lives together. But everything changes after a tragic night when one teenager is dead and the other one is accused of murder. What follows is part courtroom drama, part family story, and a deep exploration of grief, love, guilt, and impossible choices. What stayed with me wasn't the mystery. It was the way Jodi Picoult challenged me to let go of black and white thinking. She reminded me that life is messy, people are complicated, love is complicated. When I finished this book, I didn't walk away with easy answers. I walked away with better questions. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts a novel can give us. If you love emotionally complex stories that stay with you long after the final page, this is absolutely one I'd recommend. The next one is The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. Now, this novel begins with one split-second decision. A doctor secretly sends his newborn daughter, who has Down syndrome, away while telling his wife the baby died. That one decision shapes the lives of everyone involved for decades. This book broke my heart because it reminded me that secrets never stay contained. They echo, they reshape families, they influence generations. Long after I finished this book, I found myself thinking about the consequences of one decision and how our choices ripple into the lives of the people that we love. If you enjoy emotional family dramas that make you reflect long after you finish them, don't overlook this one. The next book is Though I Stumble by Kim Cash Tate. This is a contemporary Christian novel that follows women navigating faith, relationships, mistakes, and redemption while trying to figure out who they are in the middle of life's messiness. This book met me exactly where I needed it. It reminded me that grace is bigger than our failures, that healing takes time, and that faith isn't about getting everything right. It's about continuing to trust God while you're still becoming. If you're looking for Christian fiction that feels authentic, honest, and encouraging instead of preachy, this is one I would absolutely recommend. The next book is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. This story follows Soledad after her life is turned upside down by betrayal. She's forced to rebuild not only her finances, but also her confidence, identity, and her vision for the future while raising her daughters. What I loved most wasn't simply watching her survive. It was watching her rediscover herself. Kennedy Ryan writes women with so much honesty and compassion that you can't help but root for them. This book reminded me that starting over isn't the end of your story. Sometimes it's the beginning of the life you were always meant to have. If you've ever had to rebuild after disappointment or heartbreak, I think this story will speak to you. Then there is Soul Ties by Miss Candace. Soul Ties explores the emotional and spiritual connections we form in relationships and asks what happens when those connections become unhealthy or keep us from moving forward. This book challenged me to look inward. It wasn't just about the characters. It made me examine my own relationships, my own attachments, and the things we sometimes hold on to because they're familiar instead of healthy. Those are the books I treasure most. The ones that don't just tell me a story. They ask something of me. If you enjoy stories that spark self-reflection and meaningful conversations, I think this is definitely worth picking up. When I look at these 5 books together, I notice something. They are all completely different stories, different genres, different authors, different characters, but they all gave me the same gift. They changed me in some small way. That's why I don't measure my reading life by how many books I finish. I measure it by how many stories leave fingerprints on my heart. Because years from now, I won't remember how many books I read in a particular year. But I will always remember the stories that made me think differently, feel more deeply, and become just a little bit more compassionate. Those are the books that stay with us. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the one book that quietly changed your life? Not necessarily your favorite book or the most popular book, just the one that left a mark on you. If you enjoyed this conversation, I would love for you to join the Book Nook crew by subscribing to Honey and Prose. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with another reader who loves stories that leave a lasting impression. Until next time, drink something warm, pick up something good, and I will see you in the next chapter.
Sweet like honey, let it flow.